Hi, Andy Evans here. Welcome to podcast 36 of Making a Guitar in Your Garage. Okay, so I've been polishing the white guitar. I got some 2000 grit wet and dry sandpaper, and I went from 1200 wet and dry, 2000 wet and dry, and then I polished it. So I've skipped the 1500s, I've gone straight to 1200s to 2000, and I've got a good result. The camera angle is probably not very good there, but it's shiny. There you go, you can see a bit of that somewhere. It's not really the right angle, you know, to see the shine. But it came up really quick. I used my my Festool sanding machine with that pad on it, a 3M fast cut. I've got to do the edges yet. I haven't done the edges. I've done the headstock. I don't know if you can see that. I really haven't got the angle right here, so you can't see it in all this glory. It's quite shiny. Anyway, okay. So the next stage with this, I'm going to just give it a very quick skim. Very quick, just so it's playable, and then I'll do another skim a bit later. Get the strings on, leave it for a while. And then I'll crown the frets, which is like re-radius of frets. When you skim the frets, if you know what skimming is, it's levelling the fretboard. You flatten the frets off, and then you have to re-crown them. It's something I really don't like doing, but it's sort of I've watched Paul Reed Smith do it, and they don't re-crown them, so they're getting them in really well, or the neck's perfectly straight or something. So I'll see what I can do. I want a nice low action, so I don't want any high frets, you know. So normally that involves skimming. So the way I skim a guitar normally, I clamp it to the bench. So clamp it in the middle there. I put a bit on the truss rod, so the neck is slightly bent backwards. Just adjust the truss rod clockwise a little. Check it with a straight edge, and just see that it's you've got a slight bend going on, you know. And then what I do, I clamp it to the bench here, and I wedge the headstock up under here with a wedge, you know. And that is sort of replicating the strings being run with a little bit of relief on the truss rod, and that's how you want it. A little bit on the truss rod, the strings on, pulling it nearly straight. Normally you have a bow, you want to aim for a little bow, because when the strings vibrate, they need space to move. So I've adjusted the truss rod. I just need to clamp it to the bench, which I'm going to do right now, as soon as I find my clamp. And I'm going to give it a quick skim, very quick skim. I just start off with a file. There's all these different tools you can buy on StewMac, but I've always done it with a homemade file glued to a piece of wood, and it works fine, you know. Just clamp that up. Bit of protection on the body. That's my fret skimming file. That's just the file that I bought, and epoxied it to a piece of mahogany. If you ever do this at home, I just bought a long file. Cut it in half. The files normally bend one way or the other, so when you glue it on here, you want the file bent that way. That's exaggerated, but you epoxy it that way. You don't want it this way, because that would be a disaster trying to skim frets with something like that. So that's my fret skimming file. So I've clamped that to the bench, and I've got the wedge under here. This is replicating the strings being on. Put my glasses on, and then really you just check with your straight edge. You've got to have your straight edge at a 90-degree angle to the fingerboard. So when you're checking it on the high E strings, tilt it backwards a little bit, and the low E, tilt it forward, so you get that 90-degree angle. Basically you check it the way in line with where the strings are, you know, and at a 90-degree angle. If you don't do that, it'll give you false readings. And let me just check it now, and then I'll give it a quick blast with the file. So I wedge it up so it's pretty straight, you know. Okay, that's pretty good. I've got a high fret just in the middle. What I do in the middle of the neck as well, I put a couple of wedges underneath, just to stop it moving as you file. The last thing you want is it flexing the neck as you're filing, because you'll be filing frets and it'll be moving. So I put 2 wedges, I don't know if you can see those, 2 wedges in the middle of the fret, like that. And then everything's solid, it's clamped to the bench. And I'm going to give it a quick blast, which I'm going to do now. And what you're aiming to do is you want to see it touching every fret of the file, so you just check that you've got file marks in every fret. Once you're happy with it and you've levelled it and got it perfectly level, then basically use a block with some wet and dry sandpaper on. Starts off probably about 600 grit, eventually go to about 1200 grit. Keep levelling it, taking as least off as possible if you can, because you don't want to do lots of crowning after, re-radiusing. Go to about 1200. Crown the frets. If you've got a crowning file, which I don't have at the moment, maybe I'll just buy a triangular file. You can do it a different way with a triangular file. Wet and dry sand. I do the edges as well with 1200, these edges, just clean them up a bit. And then you polish it. You can polish the whole thing. I've seen on a lot of the internet podcasts, people are like taping the fingerboard off and all that. I don't think it's necessary, you just brush off the filings, or you get a vacuum and back off the filings, polish the whole neck. If you've got an ebony board, it polishes the board up. If it's a lacquered fingerboard, you have to wet and dry the lacquer, so I'd wait until you've skimmed the frets, then I'd wet and dry sand the lacquer in between the frets with 1200, 1500 on a small block. If you can get it on a block, fine. And then polish it. You can get special compounds, you can buy from metal. You can just use normal 3M fast cut, like automotive or boat polish. And that's it. So this guitar now is quick skim. I need to finish this skim off. And then it's ready to be assembled. So just to get the hardware ordered. Oh no, I've got to polish the sides. That's the neck. I haven't done these sides yet. The neck's all polished, the headstock's polished. I've just got to do these edges. So stay tuned for that, and I'll show you it when the neck's all skimmed and polished. The fretboard's been wet and dry sanded and polished, and then we've just got to get some hardware and get it working. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you next time.